Just me and a few others. They say 12. There was actually a lot more. And now we are here again at a turning point. So this planet can heal. So this planet can heal. So the people of this planet can heal. And those who have that healing mission will extend beyond where they thought their wildest dreams would take them, just because they say yes. I said yes. I'm grateful. You each are saying yes as well. We love you deeply. We see you as I am in your hearts. So many have asked me, well, when are you coming back? Too late. Already here, right there, in your heart. Please help. In love. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Savaot. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Savaot. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Savaot. Namaste.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. The following message is offered as an addendum and also a duplicate, perhaps, of last night. And the reasoning for this is that I want this group to hear the same thing live that I said last night. It is seldom that we would repeat a message in this form. But when we do, you know it's important. The message is this. Shortly, there's going to be something called the Circle of 12. And I wanted to explain it as best I can. What might it be? What are the metaphors involved in the 12, even in the circle? Yes, there will be a circle. Yes, there will be 12. But there's more. It's the beginning of an energy where it's time. 31 years ago, when I came in to start giving messages, it was a slow process with my partner. 31 years ago, the whole crux of why I was here, the purpose, the energy, the focus, was not even known by my partner. But over the years, I told him that something was coming. The first book that was ever written, The Channels, the first channel ever given in the book, talked about the fact that the time was changing from all of your prophecies, that there would be no Armageddon, that the ball was starting to roll towards something else. And that something else became the prophecy of the ages, that humanity would sail past a time when it was predicted for its demise. You went past the year 2000 right into 2012. And dear ones, I'll tell you that none of your scriptures had you doing that. None of them. Even though words from Nostradamus told you that you wouldn't make it. From so many channels accurately saw that you wouldn't make it. It didn't make them wrong that they said that you wouldn't. It says a lot about the energy that was. And almost at the last moment, you pulled it out. My purpose here, from all of these years, was to guide you to that place. And then when you got there, to tell you more about what it was, the new normal, the new human, all of the things that are there for you to look at in the lineage of the Kryon messages that I've given. Always in love, always in compassion, never asking you to do anything that would be inappropriate, never giving you a doctrine, but only that you would look into the eyes of the Creator and see yourself. That's all I ever did. This won't change from that. It will get bigger. And it's going to change into a place and a way that is commensurate with everything in this building. Everything in this campus, this village. Because I gave my partner instructions that he's going to start changing what he does, adding unto the messages of the shift, but going to a place that he didn't expect. Dear ones, you have no idea, not really, of what is inside you. If you were a child of the Creator, what might be there? Past 3D. What might be there that you've never been told you could do? Every single human being is a multidimensional creature on this planet, placed here on purpose. We know your names. You have passed this marker, and I'll tell you, there has been a galactic shift because of that. Those out there know what you've done. They've been waiting for it. It echoes what many of them have done. Yes, all over. There are those like you, children of God. There will be a day when you meet the family, and you will recognize them, much like you. They'll have the same story about the love and the kindness and the compassion and what they've gone through and what their planets have gone through and their transition time and their wars. And you'll sit down and talk, and a whole new world will open to you as you listen to them and see yourself. It's coming. But all through your history, you have had story after story about the miracles that have occurred. The masters have come to this planet. Seemingly, they've raised the dead. Seemingly, there have been all manner of healings and miraculous things occur. And you just look at it and go, that master was so powerful. Look at this. Not understanding, even for a moment, that what the master had done was to set an energy so that the human involved could do the work. The master did not create the healing. The master created an energy allowing the healing to occur. There are many stories of those who have gone to the other side and come back, seemingly raised from the dead. This is also that which is your ability to come back from the brink of darkness, even after the pronouncement of death. Because you have this, dear ones, always have. Choice, soul choice, soul choice. It's not the choice of the ancestors, it's the choice of you. You have always had this spark, and you can call it whatever you want to. It's never been named because it's always been assigned to those that seem to be more important than you. You didn't even recognize it was you, but it always has been. if you're going to go into an evolvement of consciousness, if you're going to have the maturity of understanding so much more of that which is you, your soul, your connection with all that is, if you're going to go to that place, dear ones, you have to understand you're not going to sail into that place with an old energy. You're not just going to have the same old next to you. There's going to be new energies that must be developed and will be developed, awarenesses that never were there. Awareness that you're powerful. Awareness that there's more than you ever thought. In order to have that, there must be an energy of allowance that creates permission, where you can go into a place, feel the energy, and come out saying, I never realized this was mine to do. I never realized that alone, with my magnificence, I could do this. That's about to be created. I'm not the only one that's going to create this, dear one. And we're calling it the Circle of 12. And it's going to happen soon for the first time. I've told my partner to slowly create this, explain it. I can't explain it to you, but I can try. If you've talked to anyone that has had spontaneous remission, it's seen as a miracle, isn't it? Isn't it? Every cell of the body resounds with something. It almost changes the time. It's almost they went backwards in time, a time before the disease. Spontaneous remission is what it sounds like, spontaneous. It's not something, well, I'm going to get a little better now. It's where the disease leaves completely. Sometimes quickly, sometimes overnight, sometimes very fast. It can only be a miracle unless it isn't. What if it was the human soul, a piece of creation, starting to be multidimensional and actually controlling the chemistry of the body, chasing out the disease, creating an immune system which is more powerful than any you've ever seen just for a moment in time. And the disease surrenders to the power of the human being in its magnificence, in its God energy. Now take that energy and amplify it and put it in a room. A room you might be able to walk into and feel. A room where you could feel manifestation of your future. A room that would heal from anxiety and fear and might even change Akash. It might even take those things such as betrayal. You see, I know who's listening. And whereas you would wake up in the morning and have the sorrow of the betrayal and can't believe it, and it activates seemingly a dark part of your life and you can't get rid of it, imagine that diminishing so that you don't even remember it. That's a healing. Imagine being in such control of your cellular structure that you can feel the years being added to your life as you bask in that green light of magnificence. Imagine understanding for the first time, I've always had this. It just never was released. I've always had this. Always. There's so many kinds of healing. The healing of the body, the healing of fear, the healing of anxiety, the healing of the Akash. I told my partner to create that place. And I've also told him to tell those who approach it not to go in. Don't even think about going in unless they mean it. Don't go in to look around because not much would happen. That's how strong it is. I've told my partner to create this every single week in a way that many can experience it. I've told my partner to give away 25% of every meeting free and let the rest fund the whole system so that everyone can participate at some level, at some time. It is the circle of 12, dear ones, and the appropriate color will be green. A green that surpasses any kind of a green you've ever seen before. It permeates every cell. The circle of 12 is coming. And there will be those who will come and experience and say, well, I didn't feel anything. That's because all of this is pushed by free choice. Get ready for a new paradigm. The one you've come from says that outside help is the only way you're going to survive. And so you go to the buildings and you report and you kneel and you pray and you do this and you do that and you call for help, 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 expecting simply that lowly human you're told you are to receive something from the sky, not understanding that you own the sky, not understanding it's always been there, always been there. Miracles don't come from outside sources, dear ones. They come from inside. That's the message, isn't it? My partner will prepare to do this. And I will guide him through it. And it will be new to him. Creating this kind of energy, trying to explain it, and guiding those into it. In a multidimensionality, every single soul is everywhere at the same time. And that means all of this can be done from a distance, and yet you're there. That is the premise of having a multidimensionality as a reality. And you know it works. Not too far from here. The tower exists as a symbol for silent unity. And for over 100 years, they have created international, intergalactic, multidimensional energy of prayer. And they know that it goes everywhere all at once, way past the earth. It's like a beacon that can be seen by so many because it is divinely inspired and it features human beings aware of what prayer can do. An energy of intent and compassion and kindness that starts to bathe in that light of magnificent healing. And that's why it's been so successful. You don't need to come to the tower or kneel in order to receive that which they will broadcast as your helping hand. And they will tell you that what prayer does is not an offering to the sky or to the Creator. It's not a plea. It's not begging. It's an energy that goes right to the human being in trouble and says, you are magnificent. Stand up and be healed. That is the circle of 12. I wanted to tell you what it is so you would know, and those listening so they would know. And so there would be no mistake of the intent of what is to come. It is time for these kinds of changes. I won't be the only one. There will be others offering the same. This is what I wanted to tell you in this day, in this moment, in this time. Take this place in your heart when you leave. Your prayers make a difference. Pray for this place and those who run it, for those who are volunteering in it, and for the incredible lineage to continue and to continue. And so it is.
Hi everybody, I'm Lee Carroll. I am the original channel of Kryon. Hi everybody, I'm Lee Carroll. I am the original channel of Kryon.
So let's finish this day with a little meditation before the channels, bringing your energy inside, closing your eyes. Just seeing if you can relax your shoulders and neck a little more. Breathing, softening your face. And just giving yourself to this moment, feeling the fullness of everything that's gone on today. And knowing that it's really just beginning. Breathing softly, feeling the love wash. Letting that be what carries you forward, what meets you each morning when you wake up, what puts you to bed each night, and what stays with you throughout the day. These are the messages that come to you from the beautiful star mothers, from Adirondack and Kryon.
So it is good day to you, huh? Very good to see you again for this our third time here today. Your dearest bright lights, your energy, your frequency that is coming in is raising and raising higher and higher. For you see, dearest beings of light, that energy that you are experiencing, that is why you gather even virtually in groups, because that frequency levels out into the earth, levels out into the planet. As you know and understand, your own words, your own thoughts, your own feelings are setting a pace, are setting that frequency. So we told you earlier to get the right song going on in your head so you can sing it anytime, anywhere. Then we told you to be aware of what you are experiencing with your bracelet, with your awareness of when you have alternative thoughts that are not necessarily in the positive flow. And you understand that everyone has contrast in their world. We talk of contrast as something opposite or different from what you are choosing to experience in that moment. And that contrast, there's nothing wrong with that contrast. It's helping you remain in balance. It's helping you acknowledge that energy. It's helping you stay in that flow. Yet if you stay in the pile of contrast, if you stay in that space of difficulty, then and continue to focus on that difficulty, then it is much more difficult to get out of that difficulty. We are being a bit redundant here. Difficult. That is what you are choosing to step beyond. So take a deep breath. So you've got tools that you can use. We know you know them. We know you have that frequency and have the awareness and the knowledge. And yet sometimes when we see you in person, you are going on about the weather and how you're there's 3-inch size hail coming this way towards Branson, and is that the bad thing? No, it is not. Or you're going on about this or that or the other thing. That energy is still a part of your vibration in your circle, in your field of focus. So what would you like in your field of focus? What would you experience if your life were created by your field of focus? Well, dearest beings of light, it is created by your field of focus, by your frequency, by your own intention. So we ask you, what is important to you at this moment? What matters the most? Just take a moment, a breath, and ask yourself, what really matters the most to me in this moment? Is it finding a new song to play in your head? Maybe. Is it being able to be aware of your old habits and your old energies to shift that focus when you're speaking old programs that no longer serve? Maybe. Or is it just to focus on the positive? Is it just to focus every morning when you rise, before your feet touch the ground, to focus on the acknowledgement of balance in the body? What would happen if you laid in your bed for just a few moments and breathed into your own energy centers? Breathed into that energy of your root, to breathe into trust, for your sacral, to breathe into the faith that everything is being created in divine perfection. For your solar plexus, to breathe into that due diligence with what matters the most with you. To breathe into your heart for compassion. To breathe into your throat for courage. Courage to speak that which must be spoken with divine love. And to breathe into your third eye with patience. Patience with yourself. This is what the vessel Marilyn teaches on Monday. Patience and connection. And to breathe into your crown for understanding of all things and gratitude for all things. If you did that one thing every single day, of course you're going to say, I can't remember all those things. Intention is the key. Listen to this recording, jot them down. And then, before your feet touch the ground, just breathe into your energy centers, all the way from your root to your crown. And then take another deep breath and breathe into your earth chakra, your earth center, and anchor your energy into this earth and give thanks for this earth. And then breathe up to the soul star chakra, which is above your head, and anchor your energy into your own guidance, into your own energy, into source, which is all in every atom of your field. and set yourself each day in that balanced alignment so that every step you take is in your divine path. Now, it will be anyway. However, if you set the intention that every step that comes through, every step that you make is rearranged, yet it is easy to get out of balance in the world the way it is now, especially if you turn on the television or the radio on your car and listen to what is happening or what could be happening or what might be happening. It is very easy for you to get out of kilter, out of balance. Some of you are already there because during our intermission, you stepped out and talked to someone and they were, I'm not going to wear a mask. I have to wear a mask. I have to do this. I have to do that. All of those stories, all of that energy is flowing through your field, is flowing through your existence as well. And that is why we say, align yourself. Align yourself with your own energy centers. Anchor it into the earth. Anchor it into the soul star. And each of your primary energy centers are aligned with intention. Our intention may be different than your intention. But understand that in that capacity, your root, your energy in your primal existence is about trusting that you will always be cared for, that you will always be provided for with a roof and food and assistance and love. And you can trust that. And you get to be diligent about what you do. You get to take care. You get to focus on what is the next step. And you get to have the courage to communicate. And as you do, you see what it is that you wish to communicate. What is it that is important to you? What matters most to you? And then you get to have patience. Patience with yourself. Patience with your abilities. Patience with your talent. Patience with your intuition. Patience with your friend. Patience with your neighbor. Patience with your person at the grocery store. Patience when you're driving in your car. Patience. And then you get to understand. You get to understand that every single person on this planet, in this galaxy, or in other galaxies, every single being has a different idea as to what should or should not be happening. And that is where you have gratitude for the perspective of others. And as it all comes together into your compassionate heart, you radiate that frequency of the heart. Dearest, we don't want to sound like as our vessel Marilyn says, a passion marshal. However, we're going to ask you, if you have not connected with that movie, that one field, we ask you to. If you can't do it tonight, after the sisterhood, you see, that is the next step. That is the reckoning of humanity. It is very timely. That is why the owners did not wait for all the movie theaters to open and all of that to happen. It has to be now. Because people are in fear. People are in fear. Not all, but enough to shift the frequency of love to a different frequency. And that is what we are asking you to avoid. And it begins with you, dearest. It does not begin with your neighbor or your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your husband or anyone else. It begins with you. Do you understand that? You have received much information today, and tomorrow you will receive even more information and more tools to connect with. And then the next day, more tools to connect with it together. For you see, if all of humanity was indeed living day by day through their own intuitive guidance, with themselves in total balance from the soul star all the way through to the earth, we love to imagine what that would be like. Power filled, eh? You see, that is the new frequency. So what matters most to you? Only you can answer that question. What matters most to us is to assist in you living and embracing that new frequency. That frequency of alignment, that frequency of love, that frequency to acknowledge that you have the power to heal yourself. And in that process, you have the power to heal, to radiate that healing energy to others. Oh, yes, dearest beings of light. We have tapped our vessel, Marilyn, as we know. Kryon has tapped Lee Carroll on the shoulder, saying, this is the next thing. This is the new place. This is the higher frequency. Bring together the magnificence of the innate capabilities of you humans to heal the heart, the body, the muscles, the love, and the mind. That is the key. And all you get the opportunity to do is turn it. And that key will open a doorway for humanity to step through. This is why we have said you are the next evolutionary step. Now we're going to say, what are you going to do after you take that step, Start with your intention every single morning to connect and understand with that connection, dearest beings of light, comes enlightenment. You see what we say? The Buddhists, the monks, the Krishnas, the religious people, the religious avenues, the organizations, they are all seeking enlightenment at the core. And so many times, sometimes they let their minds get in the way of that enlightenment, and they take the scenic route instead of the direct route. And we are asking you, dearest beings of light, to help with that direct route, to acknowledge that step, to acknowledge the alignment of your own energy centers. And as you do with the 100 or 200 or 300 or 400, or whoever listens to this, If you start there, that reverberates out around the planet. That is how the world of consciousness expands. Dearest beings of light, we are thankful that you volunteered. We are thankful that you raised your hand and said, oh, pick me. I'll go down to earth at this time. I'll go into the earth to be incarnate on this little blue planet. I will help. I will be of service. I will create a new song in my head. I will be aware. And when I align my energy centers, that will reverberate out, indeed, to align the energy centers of the planet. That, dearest beings of light, is why we are grateful for you. Why we love you. Why we honor you. Trust that. And we bid you namaste. Namaste.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. This is the channeling number 2 of 4 regarding the influential human field. For those of you who did not hear number 1, we say that it is available, as well as number 3 and 4 to be listened to together on that which my partner calls his website, clearly indicated for the San Antonio channels. Rarely would I refer to these things in this way, but I want you to hear all 4. They hook together, and for that which is what we would call a succinct message, one that makes sense totally, these are not to be listened to in a segment without the others. We spoke of that influential human field. It is a field, not necessarily like you would think of an electric field. It's a field that is undefinable in size. It's a field that is so influential to you because it is designed as a survival field. And we told you that even the animals that walk the earth have it. It is a survival field, so therefore some of the basic elements of survival are first and foremost and are prime. The human being walks, however, into a new energy, a profound new energy, one where the human being starts to advance in its consciousness and its maturity, advancing into a place where it starts to see itself far differently. It starts to see itself in a way that makes sense, where humans want to be different and want to be with humans, where human beings stop wanting to conquer each other or war with each other, where there's a confluence, you might say, of benevolence beginning on the planet. A true oneness that was never there before. It's slow, dear ones. Very slow. Certain cultures that have never had it will take a lot longer to get there. The cultures who have had it and understand it, that are more open with one another, it will grow even faster. But the entire planet is involved. It's involved to a degree where someday you will all look at one another, and the meetings you will have as countries will be far different. You will all be in this influential field. Now, this influential field, we started by saying, is one that influences you with things that are around it, and we discussed some of them. But the four that we discuss in these four channels, we started with primarily a basic element of fear. The fear is a reaction, and it is a survival reaction that makes you move away. It saves your life. It is so profound, dear ones, that it even will sense what's coming. And you have been in these situations that scientists will say, well, we don't understand it, but we've seen it, where you will actually stop for a while in order not to walk into a situation that you shouldn't have been there for survival. This field is quantum, totally. For it is a sensory field of other quantum energies, and mostly those energies are other human beings. Fields of humans overlap. And this is why so often we speak of these specific attributes as being almost infectious. And that means that with one having it, another will have it, another will have it, even without the primary impetus of what caused it. For instance, one human being or group of human beings start to be afraid of something, another group starts to come in, they feel the fear. And they're afraid, even though they don't know why. And we've seen this. You've seen this in your cultures. You've seen this in your governments. You've seen the dictators cause it, and those who would run things counting on it. This is primal. Let me talk about another one. Another one which is just as infectious. But remember, these fields go two ways. You can be influenced, and you can also put things into these fields yourself that influence others. Yes, you can put fear to influence others. But we're speaking of something grander than fear. That is primal. That's not what we're talking about. We're starting to talk about elevated consciousnesses. We're talking about maturity and benevolence. And so your other attributes start to show. I want you to turn the page for a moment, which means we're going to change subjects, but we're not. Part of the studies of this planet right now are the studies of something called coherence. Let me define coherence. It is the interlacing of the influential fields. It is the interlacing of the influential fields. And what this means, dear ones, is as the one field around you perhaps is filled with something, another human being will feel it too. And another feeling will happen with another human being, and another, and another, and another. This is coherence. It is starting to be studied as an individual coherence with themselves. But truly, the real coherence is with the human to human, or even group to group, and it even goes further than that. The studies have shown with auditoriums filled with those in coherence with a certain attribute can then affect another auditorium filled with that certain attribute. It's almost, again, like distance doesn't matter. It's an infectious thing where those will weep with the feelings of benevolence and joy. So let's talk about that. Second attribute, one of the greatest and most helpful and most practical right now on the planet that you could have, the influence of joy. The influence of joy. Oh, we've spoken of this so many times. It is the inner child in each of you that has and contains and retains, if you choose, the feeling of being a child. The feeling of being a child with most of you is that where you have no responsibilities, where the only thing you're concerned about is how long you can play before your parents call you inside,
or what you will do, and all those things together. If you're not having fun, you'll invent those to play with you and have fun. The child is constantly ready to play. The child is constantly ready to laugh. And if they're disturbed, they will then have a lower, perhaps, maturity, and they will cry because they don't understand what's happening, but they're quick to recover and play almost immediately. Dear ones, this is joy. This is unbridled joy. You grow up with it. You know what it feels like. You have it. And then you move into that place where you say you're an adult. And of course, it starts to temper with maturity. There are those who would feel and tell you that those childlike things should go away completely. And that as an adult, you should be more serious, take life more serious, be more responsible. And they'll actually say, well, don't giggle as much and don't laugh a lot. Dear ones, that is not even intuitive. Let me tell you something that we have said before. Those who laugh and giggle, the more they do it, the younger they become. I will tell you, it slows down the aging clock. It creates chemistry in that engine of aging, which tempers it completely. The ones who are joyful, dear ones, are healthier. The ones who are joyful are healthier. But what I tell you is this. Joy is infectious, just like fear. Now, in a changing energy on the planet, you're going to find that it's going to be more infectious than fear. And that means that those who laugh a lot and are joyful will affect the others who are as well. Imagine for a moment you being able to influence those around you to the extent that only a few minutes with you will change their attitude of life. Can you imagine such a thing? Simply because you walk around with joy. Now, what does a person look like who walks around with joy? It's not a person who is giggling all the time. It's a person who is satisfied with that which they see in front of them, which is the same thing you see in front of you. It's what happens next. It's about the day. It's about what's going on around them. You see, they're comfortable and joyful with their lives no matter what. That's maturity. That's infectious. When one person who is in trouble or in fear or in anxiety spends time with another who is not, and yet they may have the same situation in life, that's attractive. You're going to look at that person and say, what is it that you have that I cannot have, or I don't have, or I don't understand? And that is your opportunity to open up and tell them about God inside, or perhaps that you have a joy-filled life because you remember your childhood and you bring it from the DNA remembrance, the Akash, whatever you want to call it, into your own life, and you paste it on you every day. You don't have to be childlike to do that. But what you do is you remember, because you lived it, what it's like to be happy, what it's like to be joyful. These are not pretend emotions, because they realize themselves. They realize themselves by habit in your brain. The more you do it, the more your brain, your consciousness will go to that place every day. You see, it's survival. Are you getting the point? If the influential field of the human being is set for survival, what is the thing that will help it survive and stay healthy the most right now? Joy. Did you ever think of that? There is a video that I will describe to you. We'll call it The Laughing Monk. It's about a man dressed as a monk who get into a subway car in a busy city, and he knows no one in the car. As it proceeds along the tubes from station to station, the monk starts to laugh. He's good at it. almost like he is listening to a comedian or something uproariously funny has happened in his life, and he's laughing and he's laughing. And those in the subway car who are normally deadpan and have no interest in anything but the next stop or pondering their poor lives are taken aback, and pretty soon they're snickering. At first they laugh at him. What a silly man this is, and pretty soon they're laughing with him. By the time he gets off at the last stop, the entire subway car is uproariously laughing. And they get out even laughing. And they have no idea why they're laughing. And as they get out, you see him get back in for the trip to the first station to do it again and again and again. How many people that day has he touched without saying a thing? What starts as something odd becomes something not understandable, but joyful. Joy is infectious. Laughter is infectious. And it saves lives because health starts to improve. That is the influential field of the human being, proven time and time again. When one laughs, many laugh. When one turns on the light, many see. It is survival in this, a maturer time. In this, where you're starting to understand a little more about that which is important in energy, which will support something new. I've got two more. I'll present them tomorrow. One will be obvious, one not so obvious. It's time for changes. And that influential field becomes something you didn't expect. I'll tell you more then. But understand this. This quantum field, this influential field is yours. And it is available. All you have to do is feel it, look for it, and create it. For what you do for yourself, others will see. And they'll accept it. More than that, they'll want it. That is the task of the old soul. To create a mature field of peace so that others around you would have joy, understanding, and a better life. Doesn't have much to do with evangelism or what happens next after you die, does it? It's practical, dear ones. It's what we teach in order for you as human beings to have a better life today on this planet of great change. That is the message we carry. And so it is. Hi, everybody. I'm Lee Carroll. I am the original channel of Kryon. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
Keep expanding that sensation that is in your heart. From the meditation that was just guided by Monica. Keep expanding it as far as you can see and beyond. Feel it deeper and deeper, the sense of peace, the sense of light, the sense of love, of unconditional love, the sense of compassion, of deep compassion that you have for yourself and for all other living beings. Breathe and allow yourself to feel even more that divine light being that you are. How much more love can you feel right now within you? How much more love can you allow Spirit to love you? Breathe and love yourself even more. For those that live here, the Icelanders, they know this land is sacred to them. And for those who came for the tour, they feel the sacredness as they walk through this ancient land, feeling the honor, the honor that there is in this land for humans and their connection and relationship to Gaia and the elementals. Joined together in this unique evening between Icelanders and visitors of the island, creating one unified field of coherence, of honor, of love and compassion together, and together for the rest of humanity, for the light that you're creating here and taking it with you home to your communities, to your friends and family, to your country, and to everywhere you are. And it all comes down to one thing, and that is deep unconditional love. Deep unconditional love that eventually will spread and transmute the fear that is existing right now in many places on earth. And as you are in the state of being and openness and allowness, let us hear the final message of Kryon from the source of all that is and the immense love that Spirit has for you.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. Message number 11. From the place, the island nation of Iceland. The tour started many days ago, and the beauty was obvious. The earth spoke. The guardians of the rocks in the canyons moved away, allowing for the channeling to occur. It's an odd thing to say, but this land would understand. For as I told you earlier, this land has multidimensional aspects that allow it to speak. And so often those speakings manifest themselves as entities, as they do in so many other lands. It's the only thing that makes sense to a human. When it feels a personality and knows consciousness, it has to then somehow put a form to it. Those who would laugh at this, I will tell you, you've done this, humans, forever. In your spiritualness, when an angel came to you, or what you thought an angel came to you, you had no concept of what it might be. It's a multidimensional essence that moves through walls and frightens you even. We've said this before. Every angel that has come and had things to say, the first thing it said was, fear not, fear not. Why would a beautiful, absolutely stellar consciousness be something to fear? And the answer is because it looks different and it is different. You put skin and wings on them to make them palpable. And this is what societies do to all of the elementals that they can't understand, but they must have a shape. And in some places and in some countries, it's so beautiful that it sustains itself century after century after century. And that is what has happened here. And so those on the tour got a chance to see it and feel it, and if they wish to, they could understand it. There's always the free choice to believe it or not believe it. But that is what this group got. The earth spoke to them in many places and in many ways. The elementals include all the water, even that among the ice. And so we congratulate those who are guardians and stewards of your land. There is no accident that the Icelander is here. None at all. Some would say, well, in a nation that has such few people, what can they do? It would change the planet. And the answer is the same as I have given so many times to other societies, but this one, you're an island. This one I would say to you, keep it pristine. Watch very carefully for those who would take it away from you. Keep that which is your tradition, even though those would all roll their eyes and say, well, we don't believe in those things today because it's a modern day. And I'll tell you that the elements of the earth are very modern. They've been here forever, and they will be here until the earth goes away. That's how modern. They're always in the now, and they will always have names. And if you listen, they'll always speak to you. And right now they're saying, keep it pristine. Keep it pristine. This is the last channeling in this great land. And in this room, I spoke of the virus which continues to move around the planet. Now, you can go back and listen to message number 1, for I'm not going to review it all that much. But there are those now, as it grows and grows, who are saying things like, Kryon, why is this happening to a planet that is supposed to go into an area of higher consciousness? How could this be? And then I will say, have you really been listening to the channelings? Have you really been reading the messages? 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You are currently in the step back. What did you think it would look like? Did you think it would simply be a walk in the park, as they say, where an entire planet changes consciousness? And the answer is that you did not bring this as a punishment. And there are so many who go right to that place. And they will think that because of the doctrines they have studied and all of the scriptures they have read, that God is a punishing God, and therefore you must have done something horrible. What if this was a cleansing? What if this was a wild card? What if, when the dust clears, this planet will be different? What if it changes the geopolitical structure? It changes what people think, because they'll know a grander truth when it's over that they did not know before it began. And this was the hint I gave you before, the things to look at, and I'll say it again. Diseases are not political. They do what they do. Watch. Examine. Review. See where it came from and where it went to first, and it tells a story. It tells a bigger story that you're not going to like later. But for now, there are many who are saying goodbye to their elders. For now, there's great sorrow. For now, there's fear. Mentioned so many times by so many channelers, the pandemic is not of a disease, it's a fear. And the fear spreads that it would touch you in certain ways, even though the vast majority will recover completely and totally in a small amount of time, it still will take you and make you afraid. And so the question is this, not why it's here, not what to do about getting rid of it, because it will pass. It will pass. The question really is this, what are you supposed to do, light worker, right now? What is the task of the light worker? There are many things I could say right now, some of which make sense to you and some don't. Kryon, you didn't tell us this was coming. Dear ones, what happens here is with free choice. It's in the field. It's not guaranteed. It's not 100%. And you had control over whether it was going to happen or not, and you will see that later. And there are those who actually tried to stop it, and you'll see that later. And it's here anyway. If I had given you the potential, what would it have achieved? And the answer is fear. The predictions that I give to you are the ones that I see manifested from a maturing society, a transparency of compassion, a better planet, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. What are you supposed to do, light worker? I'll tell you right now. Listen. This is why you're here. Number 1, stay safe. Stay safe. Because you are not going to be able to achieve much in sickness. Stay safe. It's not that hard. Stay safe. And as this plays out, be aware of those around you who are wringing their hands and shortening their lifespan because of the fear they're in, not knowing what to do next and turning from place to place and pacing up and down and wondering what's happening to them and their family and this planet or this country. That's where you step in. And you soothe them and give them compassion and tell them stories if you need to. Comfort them, be with them, sit with them, so they can see you're not afraid, but you're safe. That you're using common sense in all things and staying safe. And knowing that this is a passing thing and not forever. And that whatever happens today, they'll come out of it tomorrow. This is what light workers do. This is the lighthouse on the rock. And I said before, no one knows the name of the lighthouse, and yet it saves so many navigators and sailors and nauticals. And they see the light and they go around and they know that where there's light, there's safety. You're a lighthouse. And this is what we will say when asked in these next months over and over. And any questions and answers, these are the answers. And these will continue to be the answers, no matter what the questions are, including why me. And the answer is, if you're a light worker, I just told you why you. So that you can change it, so you can temper it, so you can save lives by comforting them. Because there is so much fear here. I'll tell you what this planet is learning right now. They're learning a lot about the media and its part. They're learning how a media can make it worse. They're learning how a media can take lives by frightening people to death. That's what they're learning. You'll come from this a better place. Journalists, review what has happened. And think upon these things and your profession to inform. And ask yourselves, what have you done that is good for the planet today? And if this were to occur a month, 2 months, 3 months, 1 year, in the future, what would you do differently? And you will get answers. It's starting to reveal a more compassionate planet. Listen, there are those who are worried that there will be amazing things, especially in certain countries where they'll gather their guns and they'll put together a place and hold their position because they expect that the public is going to attack for food. What if I told you the opposite? What if this is becoming a kinder, compassionate planet right now, where neighbors are helping neighbors and people are greeting each other at a 1 meter distance? Different from any time in the planet's history, looking at one another and saying, we're going to make it through this. We love you. We're going to be okay. We love you. If you need help, let us know. We'll do our best under the circumstances. And there's very few that say, well, where's my gun? Not today. Not today. This is one of the biggest differences. When the historians write what happened to this planet, it will be books filled with what they didn't expect, as well as what really might have happened on this planet. This is a message of compassion. This is a message that says, light workers, you trained for it, it's here. Get through this and you move forward with a different planet, with a different consciousness. People are going into self-introspection right now and saying, could it be there's something bigger that I missed? Could it be that consciousness is starting to change? And maybe this was all part of that. Dear ones, you're going to get through this. This is just the peak of it, starting now. You're going to get through this. Stay safe. Be circumspect. Don't hide out any more than you have to. When you're allowed out, you help people. If you meet them in the store, you help them. If they look like they are in trouble, you can speak to them. You don't have to touch them yet. You can speak to them. Are you okay? Talk to me. What are you worried about? Think about these things, dear ones, because you carry a light of comfort. That is your lineage. It's why you're here. It's why you're interested enough to listen to this message or be in this room. That's the truth of the day. I'll have more to say later. But dear ones, this is starting to be a more compassionate planet, and it starts today. Know these things. Go from this place differently than you came, with perspectives that might be very different than you ever expected. There's going to be no more normal on this planet, as I told you many times. And so it is.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.